Hello wonderful people, today we're going to look into the new release Szmal Urban Sketcher set, and I have things to tell. As always, I took some time to review the set, and have used it on stream and on the go already to see how functional it is. And since I've actually been sketching outside more this year, it worked out nicely to test the palette in actual plein air conditions. So this is a rough test for the palette, and I will tell you the pros and cons, where it shined and where it struggled too. Let's talk about the palette itself first, before we speak about the color choices inside. The mini Urban Sketcher set from Szmal comes in 4 lovely colors, all wrapped in a cardboard box with a wrapper around it. The design on the box is lovely and is painted by Justyna Wojnowska. It looks lovely and vivid. A neat detail is that the title is marked in the color of the palette itself, so you see on the box which color your palette will have. On the back is the info of the company and the color selection. The palettes come in the colors peach, it's the one I chose to come with paints inside already, rose, which is a very lovely soft pink color, light blue, which is really cute too, and gold, which has a brushed effect on the surface and a very beautiful sheen. It's definitely a nice gold on a palette. As you can see, I got all 4 colors, 3 of them empty. Those come with different packaging designs too. That is simpler than the one of the filled palette. In addition, the golden one costs slightly more than the others. The price is honestly very affordable, and let me tell you this, the set is nicely balanced. You even can use it as a starter set if you want it. Why did I get all 4 of them, you might ask? The size is very appealing to me. I like my palettes to be compact as I use them on the go, and even on my desk it helps to save some desk space when I paint. And thus I'm always looking for smaller palettes and ways to squeeze in more pens in a nice way. The Bijou palettes have a similar size and also fit 12 half pens, but those are sold for a higher price. The regular 12 half pen tins are slightly bigger as the Szmal and is about 2/3 of the length, but sometimes can fit more pens in the middle row. Not always though. White Nights and Rosa Gallery both provide tins with 3 rows for half pens and no empty space, but only in bigger sizes than this one. So for me it was out of the question to get these just for the handiness of them. The palette fits nicely in my palm, is small enough to take with me on the go, and is light enough too. I feel more companies need to look into ways to create palettes that are more compact and remove the space for brushes, as oftentimes they're carried in a pencil case and not in the palette itself. That way the space could be used more efficiently. In addition, I want to notice that there is enough mixing space in the flaps. The top has 2 big wells, while the bottom flap gives space for smaller mixes. For me it's totally enough, because I rarely need big wells for washes, especially not on the go. While using it, I noticed that the palette can actually fit more than it seems to. It fits 12 half pens very comfortably in the tray. If you were to use full pans, you can fit 2 full pans per row and have space enough to fit another half pen next to it per row. If you remove the tray, you can fit 15 half pens in your set, 5 per row. It's a lot of paint for a small palette like this. So far, I don't know yet how I will fill my other palettes, but I'm sure it will be with different themed sets. Usually quality is not a big point in my reviews, because it's all kind of similar, but some things have stood out to me while unboxing the palettes. The cardboard packaging is nice and sturdy, but I noticed that the palettes itself have slightly different qualities. One came with a little but deep scratch that reached the white undercoat, and while it might not be super visible, my nail catches on it. But that's a small thing. What confused me is the inconsistency. Some flaps were super floppy, dropping down on the desk, while others were a bit tough to move. One of the 4 is actually not floppy and still stays horizontal, which is nice to have when painting outside, especially when not having a painting surface to rely on. The sturdiness of the flaps matters. One flap lost integrity altogether when unboxing the second time and fell off because the metal wire just slipped out. It has very little friction inside and slips out when you tilt the palette and the flap comes loose. It's of course also an easy fix. On my bigger palettes I often remove that flap altogether, so the mechanics aren't strange to me, but I did not expect it to just fall off that easily. In addition, I noticed that the tray inside the palettes is loose too and will just fall out. In none of them it is stuck and the sides are too high to fit in like I used to do it in other palettes by pressing them outside to make them hold onto the sides of the palette itself. Also, I noticed that the handles of the tray is not properly rolled. I'm not sure if it's called the handles, but my friend Saint noticed the same in her review and showed it on stream. It's not a big deal, but it's noticeable. I wish the trays were more secure in the palette though, because when painting outside it can happen that they're tilted and the paints and trays would fall out, and that would be a downside for sure. I might add magnets to the tray to hold it in place or remove them altogether, but this is something I need to evaluate upon further use. All in all, I think the prices I paid for the palettes is okay. I really like the size, and these quality issues are also noticeable in other palettes sometimes, or fixable quickly, still might be a bit annoying. The prices are pretty low. It's 8 euros for an empty palette in Germany and about 6 euros in Poland. And of course prices might vary depending on location, but I just wanted you to know about the issues that could occur. Also, the quality of the tints is not a representation of the quality of the paints. So let's talk about them next. Of course, you don't have to get the colors with the palette, but if you do, this might be interesting for you. The color selection in the palette seems balanced. The colors were chosen in collaboration with two artists called Dora and Justina, which also made the cover art for the palettes. The colors in the set are Nickel Azo Gold, which contains the pigments PY150 and PR102. It's a beautiful golden color reminding of Connection Gold, which is loved by many. Although it looks warm in the mass sun, it mixes almost like a neutral. The reason being the wonderful PY150, which mixes like a cool yellow, warmed up by PR102 and iron oxide. Alone, it gives that beautiful glow of nickel azo yellow and is a beautiful color to have really. It has great light fastness, staining, non-granulating and transparent. Second color in the palette is Aquarius Orange. The pigment is labeled as not available in the packaging, but thanks to the wonderful and nerdy community, I know that it's PO107. This pigment is a wonderfully neutral orange leaning into red in the mass tone with a subtle glow in the wash. It has great light fastness, semi-staining, semi-granulating, which hardly showed in my swatches, but might show more on rough paper, and it's also semi-transparent. I really enjoyed it in my sketches, and although I rarely add orange to my palettes, I use this one a lot. Next color is Quinacridone Red, made from PV19. It's a well-loved pigment that comes in different shades. This one is a very lovely cool red, could even be called a rose. It's not very dark in the mass tone, but works wonderfully as a primary red in this palette and outside of it as well. The pigment has a great light fastness, is staining, non-granulating and transparent. Another color in the palette is French Ultramarine. At this point it feels like it's difficult to find a palette without. But in this one it has a purpose indeed. The color is a nice bright cool blue with strong granulation provided by the pigment PB29. Ultramarine is known for its granulation and separates beautifully in mixes, giving them and the painting more texture and interest. With the other primaries being non-granulating, Roman Szmal added the duty of texture to the blues and neutrals of the set, which we will look into soon. French Ultramarine has great light fastness too, is staining according to Roman Szmal, granulating and semi-transparent. The second blue of the set is Cobalt Sea Blue. It's a beautiful primary blue with a low value range though. The granulation of PB28 is gorgeous, and honestly it's a pigment I just love and add to many palettes myself, so I might be biased, but it's a great mixing color and adds to the versatility of the set. The pigment has great light fastness, is semi-staining according to Roman Szmal, granulating and semi-opaque. Unusual but not unexpected is the addition of green to this set. Green can be a useful color for quick foliage, and Roman Szmal offers many beautiful ones to go with palettes. Autumn Green, which is added to the set, is made from pigment PG26, PY150 and PR122. It reminds a little of sap green but with a light granulation and yellow glow. It shows slight separation and is a very nice and useful green to have. The color has great light fastness, semi-staining, granulating and semi-transparent. It made me happy to see that there is no black added to the set. Though we have a neutral here that works similarly. It's Shadow Violet, which is made from PG50, PB29 and PV19. It's a mix that could be recreated from the colors available in the set already, with PB28 being used instead of PG50, and is clearly a convenient mix. The color separates and granulates nicely, giving a muted purple with deep values and pinkish undertones, showing nicely in the wash. The color has great light fastness, is staining, granulating, and semi-transparent. It can be nicely used for monochromatic studies or quick shadows. The other neutral in the set is Burnt Sienna Brownish, made from good old PBR7. This version of Burnt Sienna misses the orangish glow I know from some other versions of this color, but granulates heavily and nicely and turned out to be a good mixer. The pigment is highly light fast, semi-staining, granulating, and semi-transparent. Now let's look at the primaries of the set and how they mixed. Mixing Nickel Azo Gold and Quinacridone Red, I receive a beautiful range of warm oranges and reds, even a beautiful coral color. Using Quinacridone Red and Cobalt Sea Blue, I can achieve mixes of beautiful granulating purples and violets. Especially in the mixes Leaning Blue, I can see a beautiful granulation of the cobalt pigment with the pinkish undertones. When mixing Cobalt Sea Blue and Nickel Azo Gold, I get a range of beautiful bright greens, a turquoise to cool green with beautiful granulation again, and a range of sappy and leaf greens to olive green and almost a green-gold kind of mix. These are very useful for a variation of foliages, and I'm very happy with the mixes I received. But let's look further. I also created a mixing chart of all the colors. You can see that there's a huge range of mixes and textures you can achieve within the set. Especially the mixes using French ultramarine and autumn green stood out to me by creating a strong texture in the mixes and almost dominating the other color they've been mixed with by forcing this texture onto them. It's not a bad thing, because I believe that it adds to the interest in a painting when colors separate and do their own thing to some extent. This palette definitely plays with that feature. The Burnt Sienna Brownish is another color that adds a lot of texture to the mix. French Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna create a dark neutral mix, almost black, which I use as a neutral a lot during the sketches and paintings I created as a preparation for this review. One of them you can see right now, of course, because I like to show you how a palette works in action and not in swatches only. A color I used less than the others was Shadow Violet. While it provides a quick neutral, I'm just very used to mixing similar hues from other colors also available in the set. For me personally, it's almost a lost place and could be switched out in the long run. Despite that, it's of course still a very beautiful color on its own. In general, I think both artists did a great job on the color selection. It's slightly unusual by providing a yellow and orange that aren't used much in such limited palettes. They stayed very traditional, choosing the blues and neutrals for the set, yet emphasizing the possibility to create textures, which is very valid. There are great primaries chosen for a wide variety of mixes, and honestly it could even be a great set to start out with and learn watercolors. It's suitable for a great variety of subjects too, and not only urban sketches, though I see sandstone buildings glowing in the sunset light painted with the set very clearly. For my painting I also choose to play with textures and lean into this property, and I like the outcome a lot. If you want to see more swatching charts of this palette, you can look into the videos of Cyan and F, which I link down below for more inspiration. Of course, we also have the questions of what to possibly add to this palette, and it comes with 3-4 half pan places. I decided to go with 2 full pans and 1 half pan for the bottom row, and added Titanium Buff and Potter's Pink, both from Roman Szmal. Roman Szmal's Titanium Buff is a beautiful warm white, which mutes down colors into a creamy mix, and I felt it could be a nice addition. Potter's Pink is a muted pink color with heavy granulation. Looking into the possibilities of texture, I leaned into that and wanted to add more to it, so I chose this one. It was fun adding it to a palette and playing with it more on the go. In case you want more inspirations what to add to the set, Cyan has a full video on this topic with possible mixes even. And because I use this palette not only on my desk but also on the go, I tested some stuff out. My issue is that I don't always have a handy desk on the go and get to hold my sketchbook and palette in one hand while painting with the other. In some cases it needs some balancing indeed. Because the flaps are a bit flimsy and drop down, I needed to find a way to hold it. Usually I'd use the ring of the palette, which turns it into an odd position for me. Also, if I turn my hands, the tray with the pans would fall out, which I mentioned before. To fix this, I used a clip on my sketchbook with a magnet. The magnet held the palette nicely on top of the sketchbook, and it was nicely usable for me. Of course, then it covered up one of the pages, which wasn't as big as an issue for me at this point, but I can believe it could be for others. I think this is something to consider. Where I had the desk or table to paint on, the set showed to be perfect. It's small, fits all I need, and I could throw it into my bag or pouch to take it with me quickly. So I used it also in a cafe too, which was super nice. I really love how small it is and that it fits 12 colors, and I wish more companies would make their sets more compact like this. And the very appealing colors of the tin too. Of course, the colors of the paints are undeniably good. I should notice that the paints come unwrapped in the sets, which saves Szmal the time and effort to wrap them up, and costs, of course. I think it's a great approach, also to save on trash, and is very environmentally friendly too. The presentation is really nice and neat. The color selection, as we've seen, is very handy too. I did not feel limited at all using the set and wouldn't need any additions to be useful for me or anyone else, I believe. But of course, we all want to add some personal flavor to the sets and add the colors we can barely live without. By the way, the third color I added in the half pen was a titanium white gouache for highlights, because I don't like carrying white markers or gel pens. It's very simple, really. Despite all the issues I mentioned earlier, with flaps falling off and trays falling out of the palette, I'm actually really happy with it. I love that size so much that I feel happy to take it into my hand and really want to use it. I love the colors and can't wait to fill the others with other colors to create my own sets and take with me on the go. I enjoy painting with Szmal. The paints wet nicely and are bright and beautiful. I love the granulation and textures I can achieve using those. And so far, I never had quality issues with the paints itself. Those have always been amazing, and some of the mixes feel unique enough. It's a great European brand, by now well established and with a great mindset to create good quality supplies which are reliable and artist grade. I own other palettes and a lot of single pans from the brand, and have not been disappointed yet. Whether this palette is for you, you of course have to decide yourself. You've seen the downsides in this video, and whether they make the palette unusable for you or no is up to you. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, whether you own it already, and if so, which color did you choose? What would your additions be if you had to fill the empty spots? Let's have a wonderfully nerdy discussion. In case you want to see more real-life tests and thoughts on the sets I yet have to review, join my streams on Twitch. I stream every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Central European Time. And in case you want to join the lovely discussions and get the previews on all the swatches and paintings, you can also join Discord. All the links are down below. All the wonderfully nerdy people are welcome to chat along, nerd out about paints and pigments. It's something I enjoy a lot, and just enjoy sharing art and knowledge in general. I hope you enjoyed this review on painting. Thanks for being here, and the rant and the swatches. Have a wonderful and creative day, everyone, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!